Hello, and welcome to another episode of Dumb Guys Talk. Today we're actually going to go back into baseball, a subject we haven't talked about for a couple months. But the postseason is just starting. We're one
Perfect
game.
timing.
Yeah, we're one game into the playoffs. We had the Astros versus Yankees game already. I believe the Cubs versus Pirates is tonight.
Cubs and Pirates is going on right now.
Right
I haven't
now.
looked at the update yet, but
A good matchup. Was it Cole against Arrieta?
I think it's a really good matchup for those two teams. And I mean, they were separated by one game in the standings. The NL Central was pretty dominant
They were.
this year
I think
in the National League.
all three of the NL Central teams had more wins than like the Dodgers or the Mets.
I think they did.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think they were all up in the mid-90s. So.
And I saw an article today. The headline was "Wild Card winner is going to win it, go to the World Series on the National League side."
Interesting. I don't have that. So to set this video up, Heath and I did the MLB.com postseason bracket, and so we're gonna go through our picks and tell you who's gonna win the World Series.
Welcome to Dumb Guys Talk About Smart Stuff.
I think I got it right. I think Heath is way off. We'll see.
We'll see. And I think this year it's such a level playing field that almost any team can make it. The only team I might write off right now is the Rangers. I don't think that they got what it takes to win the World Series.
I think the Rangers got into it because the Astros choked at the end.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. So do you want to just start off with the Yankees and Astros game? Who'd you have?
So I had the Astros winning, and they did. And I think I told Barry earlier in the day that I thought the game would be 3-1. Turns out being 3-0.
It's pretty close.
One run off.
Yep. Yeah, I also had the Astros winning that game, even though I'm a Yankees fan. It was tough for me to make that pick. But Kuchel dominated the Yankees this season. I think it was pretty much a no-brainer. The Yankees struggle with pitching still.
Yeah, and I think kind of a real tendency is postseason teams that do well have like one or two really dominant aces, and I think the really dominant ones have the two aces they can really fall back on.
And we'll get into that as we go, but let's just talk about the other wild card game, the Cubs and the Pirates.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you have winning that game?
I have the Cubs winning, and I initially did that because of how hot. Am I pronouncing his name right? Arrieta.
That's how I pronounce it.
All right.
Yeah, I have more of a problem with Kuchel. Is that
Kuchel.
how you pronounce it?
I have no idea.
I don't know. Comment how to pronounce that.
Yeah,
Give us
we
the
just read the
pronunciation.
names, and actually both of us have been kind of following baseball on the internet this year, so we're not hearing the guys on
Right.
baseball tonight.
I don't even have cable, so I can't even watch ESPN.
Yeah, we're
So,
both unplugged.
Yeah.
Um,
So you think Arrieta is going to dominate that game?
I think Cole has had a very good season, but it was one of those kind of typical of a lot of aces where they're super dominant in the first half, and they're just okay in the second half, but their overall stats for the year look good.
Mhm.
And I don't think Cole's been hot lately, and Arrieta has.
I think Arrieta has been very hot as of late, and yeah, I agree. I think the Cubs are going to win this one on Arrieta, and they're going to move on.
Yes. Now, the next round, they're going to run into the juggernaut of the Cardinals. And
So whoever wins the wild card plays the Cardinals. Is that right?
yeah.
Okay.
And I think they're the only 100-win team this season, if I remember right. And 100-win
Did they
team.
win 100 games?
I believe they did.
Okay. Last I looked, they were getting close, but they weren't quite there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but they're a very experienced postseason team.
Yes.
And it's been kind of like the Giants or Cardinals back and forth lately, the last few years.
Mm-hmm.
So their management, their players, and all that are very experienced postseason. But I don't think this Cardinals team is as good as some of the ones in the past.
I don't think they are either. I don't think they have that dominant ace to get them through the postseason, let alone a staff. I think we looked at it. Their best pitcher this season has been Lackey.
Yeah, they do. I did not realize that I'm not going to forget his name right now, but one of their starters is on the 6-day disabled list. They also have Walker, who's been good. They have Lynn, who was on my fantasy team, who kind of choked for me at the end of my fantasy team, so I don't appreciate that, Lance.
Is that why I beat you?
Could be.
Okay.
And a couple other guys that choked too. One, DeGrom, and that's the other bracket on top. They're playing the Dodgers in the first.
So let's wrap up the Cubs Cardinals matchup. Who do you think is going to win that?
I have the Cardinals winning based on experience.
Okay, you have the Cardinals winning. I think I also picked the Cardinals to win that as well, just because they ran away with the Central League, even though the two wild card teams are in the Central. They did run away with it. They had it all year long. They cruised.
Another thing, the Cubs are cursed.
The Cubs are cursed. They might break that curse.
Yeah, and if this is the year they break the curse, I mean, I'd be rooting for that, even though it would mess up my bracket.
Yeah,
It'd be cool to see that in our lifetime.
I think it would be pretty cool. It's got to happen.
Mm.
I mean,
The Red Sox have broken their
Red Sox
curse.
did it. Yeah. So,
So,
all right, let's go back to the American League.
back to the American League. Which bracket do you want to look at?
So let's look at the wild card. So the Astros and who do they play?
The Royals.
They play the Royals. Okay. So who do you have winning that one?
I have the Royals winning, and I have that based on they went to the World Series last year.
Mm-hmm.
They've been there, done that. They got a team that gels really well, I think, and I think they're by far the best defensive team in the majors.
They're a good defensive team. They've got some pretty decent pitching.
Mm-hmm.
You said they're gelling. I think it's a young team that came up together and they're kind of learning to play together at a fairly high level as well because they've had a lot of high round picks that are now coming into the majors.
Yeah.
They might be coming together.
Yeah, and they could be a 10-year long type of team that sticks together for that long.
Yeah.
They got some young guys like Lorenzo Cain, Eric Hosmer. I'm probably pronouncing wrong. Their shortstop is very young, and I think they've got some good relief pitchers that are very young.
Yeah, I think they do have a really good bullpen. But their starting pitching isn't as good as it can be.
Not really. They picked up Edison Volquez, who is a very good ace.
Mhm.
Last year he had a really knockout
I had
year.
Volquez on my fantasy team this year.
Mhm.
He was so-so.
I think, didn't he kind of drop off after going to the Royals?
I think he's always been kind of hit and miss.
Yeah. They've also got, oh God, I'm blanking. They lost the dude from last year. There was their ace, and he went to the Padres. They've got some more
They've got
depth.
Ventura, who's
Ventura.
that young guy.
He was kind of a hothead.
Yeah.
The Giants, I think, hit him hard in the World Series
Mm-hmm.
last year. They don't have like that 20-game less than 3 ERA.
Right. They don't have that guy that can go out there every time and basically be the dominant pitcher.
Yeah, but what they've got is the defense that can make those good pitchers only allow about 2 runs in 7 innings, and then the bullpen that can shut them down the rest of the way.
Yeah.
And that could be a decent winning combination in the playoffs.
But their starters, the starters are going to send out there are all 3.5, 4 ERA guys that, that results in 4 to 5 runs, over 6 innings.
It could, but looking at the Astros, one thing about their lineup, they're one of those low average, high strikeout, and they hit 25 or so home runs. They have a lot of hitters like that.
Right.
And looking at say teams like the A's and other teams that are similar that have had that type of lineup, it kind of chokes in the postseason.
Yeah. Well, I agree with you. I agree Kansas City's going to win that one.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go to the Mets-Dodgers.
Mets-Dodgers. Now, this is one where I think we already had a discussion on this one.
Yes, I think we have.
I believe you think Kershaw, Greinke is going to dominate the postseason.
I do, absolutely.
And
It's that 1-2 punch. You can look back at it like Randy Johnson and Kurt Schilling, how they dominated the postseason in 2001.
yeah,
I think they've got that 1-2 punch. Greinke's having a great season. He's probably going to win the Cy Young.
yeah.
Kershaw, after a little tiny rocky start, has had a great season to form. I think they've got the pitching to do it.
To an extent, I'd agree with you, but Kershaw's known to choke in the postseason.
Kershaw
Last year,
does not have a very good postseason.
No, I mean last year I think his ERA was over 7. The year before that was over 6. I think career he's up in the 5s.
But if you believe in the law of averages, he is good enough to where he's gonna come back down to his normal ERA over time, and he's gotten a couple of rough starts out of the way, and now it's time to dominate. I think it's his time.
It could be. The guy that I kind of like to bring up, maybe for Kershaw, is like Verlander. He was a guy that he threw like 98 or so, and in the postseason you expect with the extra adrenaline to actually be an even better pitcher, kind of like Kurt Schilling, Randy Johnson would be.
Yeah.
The hard throwers a lot of times with the extra adrenaline getting better.
Right.
Bumgarner kind of does that. Verlander would kind of let his fastball rise too much. He'd be throwing 98, but kind of high out of the strike zone. And he was getting hit. I mean, Pablo Sandoval hit 3 home runs off in one game. Or actually, I think 2 were against Verlander, 1 against the bullpen.
Yeah.
In one game off of him. And I remember a All-Star game where he started and he just got rocked. In kind of those high-pressure situations. So I think, say, like, if it is just kind of like a Kershaw needs to settle down, maybe they can be that ace. But if it's in his head, it might be there to stay.
It could be, but I think the lessened pressure of having Greinke behind him who had even a better season than he had. I think it's going to take a lot of pressure off him. I think this is his year. So I think this is where we part ways, though, in our brackets.
We do.
Because I have the Dodgers winning this game.
I have the Mets winning this one.
You picked the Mets.
Now, the Mets are a little bit cursed. They were the amazing Mets in '69, and they were that big underdog team that won. But I think that the
'86 as well.
They won it all in '86. I think DeGrom and Harvey can match Kershaw, Greinke stuff-wise. They don't have the experience and the stats, but stuff-wise, I think they got like the strikeout type of capability, the young arms that could get pumped up and throw even harder in the postseason.
Right.
And so if the Mets, if DeGrom, Harvey do match up with that, and you come out of Kershaw, Greinke feeling confident, I think the Dodgers will be kind of really down in the dumps. Their aces didn't get them through, and they would be kind of screwed. But I think the first two games of the series will tell how it's going to go. But I do have the Mets winning. It is probably kind of like I'm a Giants fan. I hate the Dodgers, and
I think that has a lot to do with this.
Some of it, and I've been picking DeGrom for the last 2 years on my fantasy team because I think this Mets team.
You think he's the guy?
Yeah, I think he's the guy, and I think this Mets team is young and coming up together, similar to the Royals.
Yeah. Well, I have the Dodgers, so let's see. Let's go now back to the American League, and we've got who is it? This is the Rangers and Blue Jays.
And I think the Blue Jays win this one easy.
I think the Blue Jays win this one easy also. I think the Blue Jays are primed. They were expected to be much better last year. They didn't come together until mid-year this year, and the Yankees choked. They got to take the East. I think with the pickup of Price, they've got some pitching behind them. They got that dominant ace. I think they beat Texas easy.
Yes, and so here's where do you want to go from here? National League Finals?
Let's stick in the American League because we're on a roll with the Blue Jays. So the Blue Jays now, in both of our brackets, are playing Kansas City, correct?
And this should be a good series.
This should be a pretty good series, but again, I think this is where we split. Who do you have winning the Royals and Blue Jays?
I have the Royals.
You got the Royals winning that one.
I think they play well as a team together, great defensively. They have a top to bottom line. They don't have like that 1, 3, 4, 5 murderers row that the Blue Jays have, but they have a good top to bottom lineup.
Yeah, they definitely have a lot of young players. They've got some fast players. They've got some guys that were pegged to be stars that could be coming into their own. So that's interesting, but I have the Blue Jays winning this one. I think the Blue Jays are the better team at this point. They're the stronger team. They're the more seasoned team. And they've got Price at the top of that rotation. So I think the Blue Jays are going to take that one.
Yeah, I hope Price is on the Giants next year. But anyway.
Okay, so moving back to the National League.
I've got Cardinals Mets here.
So you've got Cardinals Mets. I've got Dodgers Cardinals. So who do you got winning this one?
I have the Cardinals. I have them as the juggernaut team that's been there all the lot. Management, players, everyone there has been there a lot. My one concern is like Molina's hurt.
Yeah, I was going to say that Molina's hurt.
Molina's hurt.
They don't have a dominant rotation.
We'll say like they got 4 good starters. I think one's injured right now, so they got 3 really good starters, another young good one, and then they've got a top to bottom good lineup too.
Yeah, I mean Lackey was their best pitcher this year, and he has experience. Did he win the World Series or go to the World Series? I think he won the World Series with the Angels.
Was he there back in 2002?
I remember him being in the playoffs with the Angels. I don't know.
It was the Giants.
Or was it with the Red Sox?
Yeah, the Red Sox. He was on the Red Sox for a while.
Maybe he was on the Red Sox where he went to postseason. Anyway, he's got postseason experience, so he's got some experience. But he's having a bounce back year, and maybe this is it. But I don't know. I question his ability to ace a rotation.
But they do have Lynn and Walker to complement him.
Yeah, and they got a couple of. What they have is they've got a group of good pitchers. They don't have a great pitcher, a dominant pitcher.
And do you know if, what's his name in left field is playing right now? Is he hurt?
Holiday?
Holiday
just came, again, another guy from my fantasy team, who was on the DL for basically the second half of the season. They took him off the DL in the last week of the season. He pinch hit a couple of times. He's come in and been taken out. Very limited play. I think they're saving him for the postseason, so he will probably be coming back.
Okay.
We'll see what happens there.
Now we've got the World Series.
Well, hold on. Let's go to my picks because
I want to skip those.
I know you don't even care about mine. I have the Dodgers and Cardinals in that series, and I'm gonna go to that big 1-2 starting pitcher punch that the Dodgers have. They've got Kershaw and they've got Greinke, and those guys are going to dominate in a 7-game series where the Cardinals are going to see one of them, if not both of them, twice.
Okay. I mean, that is fair. I'm kind of counting. My bracket's kind of counting on Kershaw choking.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't, they very well could be that Randy Johnson-Kurt Schilling combination
Right.
that carries them through.
Yeah.
So now we're to the World
Now we
Series.
can go to the World Series.
So now we got your picks out of the way. All right, I have Cardinals, Royals.
Cardinals, Royals.
I
So,
think you picked
so
opposites.
Yeah, we have the opposites matching up in the World Series. Well, so why don't you tell me who you've got winning this World Series?
I got the Cardinals. I got not the Cardinals. Sorry,
No.
I got the Royals. Jeez. I think they're a very similarly made team to the Cardinals, but they're younger and faster.
Yeah, I mean, if there was going to be a story this year about this young team that's really come together, you know, like you said, they're gelling. It's gonna be them. It's gonna be their story. But I still have a hard time with their starting pitching. It's not as good as the Cardinals pitching. So in this matchup,
Yeah, pretend. Let's say Volquez has a good game. He could probably match up against anyone, but the depth probably isn't there as much as the Cardinals.
yeah. I mean, I don't think any of the starting pitchers on the Royals, let alone their best one, even had a year as good as the worst starting pitcher on the Cardinals. But I mean, we're just looking at the season stats.
And sometimes when you get into postseason, it's the guy that has the stuff.
Yeah.
Really, that comes
Right.
out.
Yeah.
First and foremost, and the mental makeup to
Right.
deal with that the pressure.
Well, that's another thing, and we can go both ways on this. The Kansas City is young, but they've been there before. They were there last year.
Yeah.
The Cardinals are seasoned, and they've been there the past few years as well.
Yeah.
So,
So I think if those two teams play each other, they know what to do.
Yeah, in that matchup, it's anybody's game, really. That's a good matchup. I think that goes 7 games, kind of like last year's World Series with the Giants. My matchup, though, is with the Blue Jays and the Dodgers.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's going to be as good of a matchup as yours, because I think the Blue Jays are going to get dominated by that pitching matchup, by that 1-2 punch. I really don't think that they're going to be able to match up.
I think if the Dodgers make it that far, I may very well agree with you, because that means Kershaw would have had to right the ship.
Yeah.
Unless they win without him.
Unless Greinke carries them the whole way.
Yeah.
But I doubt that's going to happen. I really do think that Kershaw is going to right the ship and he's going to bring it together.
And so the Giants played the Dodgers in a series right before the end of the year, and they're actually able to work together 2 runs, and Peavy was able to match them, and the Giants won that game playing Greinke, and Greinke left the game tied 2-2. So if teams are able to nickel and dime Greinke and play like that, they may have a shot. And I think the type of team that could do it are like the Royals. You know, they got one of those good nickel and dime type.
Yeah.
Or the Cardinals could do that.
Yeah, and that might be an interesting matchup to see the Royals play the Dodgers. But I still think no matter what, the Dodgers win that matchup.
Yeah, and you do have the statistical juggernauts going.
Yeah.
I've got the gelling teams
Right.
going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So it should be interesting.
Yeah. It's
and I think it'd be fun if this was the year the Cubs broke their curse.
I think it would be fun for that as well. I think it would also be fun if the Kansas City took it all the way as well. You know, they were there last year. They didn't do it. They got very close.
Yeah.
And now they
Take
do
it to Game 7 and lose. I mean, it can't be something you sleep well that night afterwards.
Yeah. Right.
So I'm sure they've been thinking about that all year.
I bet they have, and now here they are again. They have an opportunity. So.
All right.
There's our bracket.
Yeah, have fun watching the postseason, and we'll be checking on the internet as well. I think either one of us have cable.
that was a good episode.
Yeah, and if you liked that episode, you should check out some of our other videos because we've done a lot of good ones, and we got a lot of good ones coming.
Man, I want to see all of them. I'm going to subscribe.
You're already subscribed.
Oh, that's right.
You should subscribe. And don't forget to comment, like, and share these videos with your friends.
Become our biggest fan. Tell us what you want to be in the videos, and we'll keep making quality content.